just feeling taste, but we got here. It was a girl from Spain, and Lolita was her name. Well, the zipper got stuck. Whoa, boys were in luck. Big Albert Stone,
everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Guys.
I'm glad for beer. I like a lot of beer. From the bottom to the top, I just can't stop with beer. One, two, three, four.
Tonight, I'm joined by Dina. Hello there. I apparently pushed wrong button and pushed myself on the screen. Ugh. All right, let's just start this all over again. Tonight, I am joined by Brenda and Bobby. Oh, good Lord.
Who's Dina?
Dina, I'm looking at her name here. She's saying, here, kitty, kitty, kitty in the chat. So, so I'm looking at her. It's the same as Bobby Allison's brother, Drew Fred. I don't know. So.
Baby Allison?
So how is everyone? I live in construction hell, so
I'm off work for 10 days, about to go on vacation, so I'm doing just fine.
Oh man, it is nice to be you then.
I enjoy life. I may not say a word, just sit here and smile all night.
Well, I was gonna go camping, but the missus got a long weekend because of the Kaiser policy, and so they gave her extra days off. And I was like, well, let's go to the beach. And then I'm hearing the news today, and they're like, oh no, this weekend is going to be the busiest travel weekend since before COVID, and there's going to be more people on the roads, more people in the air, more deaths. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just stay here. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided. She didn't get home until a little bit before the show, so
I'll be coming through Knoxville.
Well, hey. If something happens and you need a place to stay, I know a place. So my mom has got a honeydew list that you can finish for me. So.
Oh, good God.
But
JT's in the chat.
Really would subject him to that.
JT is in the chat. Yeah.
Goodness me, I can't reach nothing.
And then we got JT is in the chat. So where are you going, Bobby?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. No, I meant for your trip.
Oh, I'm going that. Sorry. I'm just sitting here. I'm moving my mind. I'm going to the Outer Banks.
Gotcha. All right.
Knoxville, going to stay in Winston-Salem for a night and then finish the leg.
Which island you going to?
Well, a little place called Salvo.
I don't know that
I don't
one.
really know anything about it. It's south of Nag's Head, obviously.
I'm going to. I'll be in his suitcase when he gets there and he opens it up. I'll pop out like Jack in the Box.
He's already got problems with things that are in suitcases popping out at him, haunting him and hunting him.
I'll leave my doll at home. It'll be okay.
Bootleg Jeff Dunham strikes again.
I'm telling you, I think I want the Sasquatch one and start taking lessons. I think that's what I want to do. So, So Brenda, any holiday plans?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to move and get the heck out of here.
Oh, is this your moving weekend?
It should be, hopefully.
Oh, well, good. You should still be down there in Texas. So
yeah, yes,
still in Texas.
Yes,
yeah.
I can't leave. I cannot leave Texas. I have the best doctors in the whole world. I cannot leave them. They have kept me alive for 6 years.
As long as you stay away from Dallas, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't go anywhere near Dallas. I had my fill with Dallas.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Nope. They can all stay there. I think we need to put a fence up around Dallas and just lock it.
Well, I have a thing about Dallas, since it's the Cowboys, so I can't.
Is this your anti-Patrick Duffy rant?
Yeah.
Another thing about Patrick Duffy, he can step by step his way out.
Okay, this is annoying because now apparently I can't chat.
Why?
For the best.
It probably is. It probably is.
Probably broke the chat too.
I can't chat either. I can read him.
It tells me down below that I can text. Get messages from Trovo, LinkedIn, 2 YouTube channels, 2 Facebook channels, Twitch, but then my little area where I go to type is got nothing there. That's sad. Last week it did. I'm still learning this, so you'll have to bear with me.
Well, see, mine says sending messages is only supported for the host. Enjoy the stream. Learn more. I'm not pushing any buttons tonight.
We've already done enough of that because even this last time, even I screwed that up. So I hit the wrong button and no, wait a minute. There, it's back. What the hell happened there? It's back. That one's back, but the other's not. I don't know. So,
how'd you get it?
I don't know. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to push any more buttons. So
yeah, don't push any more buttons.
If I can figure out the chat, I would be a happy man.
So what do we got for news today?
Oh, what do we have for news?
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off with my public safety story because, I think everybody should know CPR and the Heimlich maneuver. And it turned out that Woody Allen, whom is 87, that's his brother. His Davey was his son. So Woody Allison, he was in a restaurant with his. See, you all didn't tell me I was doing so good. Why y'all gotta mess with me?
Just Woody.
So,
it's payback for that blown pass interference at the end of the game last year. That was totally a flag.
Man. Come on, man.
That was an interception. We won the game.
Whatever. So he was dining in a Manhattan restaurant, and his friend Andrew Stein, who is 76, who apparently told the reporters that he normally ordered fish, but today he chose to order pork. Insert joke there. I'll let Bobby do that one. And the meat became lodged in his throat when all of a sudden Woody popped up and came to his rescue performing the Heimlich maneuver. So, Woody popped up, did the Heimlich maneuver. An 87-year-old man doing a Heimlich maneuver on a 76-year-old man, extending his his life. So, but apparently that's not the first time that Woody has done that because in the 90s, he did it for SNL producer who was choking too. So,
really?
So, yeah. So, it's good to know CPR and the Heimlich maneuver.
If not, I hope you're dining with Woody Allen.
Yeah, or Woody Allison, either one.
So we've had all 3 of our kids were in the NICU, and one was in there for 60 days, and one was in for 4 days, the other for 28. Doesn't matter. But they give a free class on CPR, so I feel like I can. And they had the little fake babies laying around. Like, everybody go make out with your fake baby real quick.
It's so creepy, isn't it? Imagine getting pulled over with a bunch of those in your Jeep. So this guy.
You had Rescue Randy's?
I had the little ones, and if I could only find the picture of where my students from my EMT class took the pediatric one out to a bar. And he's sitting at a bar with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and they got his arm propped up with a Jack Daniels bottle. I'm like, and they texted this to me while they were doing it. I'm like, you bastards, you kidnapped my doll.
They took Recessa Annie out for a drink.
Rescue Randy's.
That's right.
When I worked on the Army range, we had tons of those Rescue Randy's. They trained for dragging dead bodies. We just they have to change their clothes. Mm-hmm. We had to spray paint them. We had to spray paint them brown to simulate Iraqi people. I'm not even kidding. We had to do that and put it because it was during the surge, the George Bush surge.
Yeah.
And so we're dressing up these Rescue Randys in little turbans and shit. I'm getting paid for this just out of college. I'm like, what's my life done?
Well, I figure with as many mouths that have been on Recessa Annie, they owed her a drink. So
Yeah, among other things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't. We use the same ones to drag them in now, the burning buildings, and we would get ticked off and just leave them in there. And the instructor's like, "Where's the mannequin? That's a very expensive mannequin." I'm like, "Ooh, about that."
That's what they're called. They sell them in a box. They come all folded up. The Rescue Randy.
Yep. It's actually designed after a what is it? It's a French man that it's his. Oh, what is it? What do they call it?
Giant Ken doll is what it is.
The real Rescue Annie is a death mask of a French lady from, I think, the 1800s. It was his.
Oh, you mean the CPR mask?
Drowned. Yeah, the CPR one. Yeah. I think she drowned, and he felt so bad that he wanted people to learn things, and so he made her the face. And so it's kind of creepy that you're still blowing into a 1800s lady's mouth, but
oh wow.
But yeah, true story. True story. You got anything
now, don't they?
It's the forbidden sugar mama.
Exactly. She drowned. So well, you know me and finding weird stories. I'll give you another medical story here. How about this? A German tourist in his 50s is facing having his penis amputated. I thought of you, Bobby, when I found this story. I was like, why am I thinking of Bobby about this?
What?
I did. I swear to God. I was going to dedicate this story to Bobby. Said that he's...
Shelton doesn't have balls.
Well, this one is facing having his penis amputated after a 24-hour ecstasy and Viagra marathon with his wife while they were on holiday. He's in septic shock in the ICU in critical condition in Italy. He was having sex under the influence of drugs for an estimated, his wife stated, 24 hours straight. They had an alleged crazy sex session. So the local media said that the man reported to the ER and stated he felt seriously ill. And they said, well, what's wrong with you? And he told them his story. And they said, well, let's have a look at the unit. And apparently it's necrotic. It has no blood flow to it and has not. And it has been, he has necrosis, which is a technical term for lack of blood, dead cells, skin cells of the man's penis and scrotum.
Oh, no.
So you really can't top that. I mean, and he's still in his 50s, so I don't know. Maybe they can come up with an implant or something. But
well, okay. First of all,
I might need to move her to the center screen for this one. So
I am. Put it back. I'm only 6 years older than this guy, and didn't start having any medical problems till I hit 50. But I still cannot see 24 hours.
Well,
I mean, I've had long stretches before, probably about 6 hours maybe, but 24?
I'm kind of interested in how that happens, much less 24.
I thought I was doing well at 6, but go ahead. So,
6 minutes, 6
6
seconds.
minutes doesn't count.
I didn't say. So.
Wow, incredible. I bet he'll never do that again. No pun intended.
Okay. So, I mean, was it the friction that burned it up? I mean, medically speaking, what caused the necrosis? Did he put a band on it?
Well,
I mean,
that's the 4-hour thing with Viagra. It causes that. That's that warning. And he probably had it super going nuts. Not literally going nuts. He probably had it like in ecstasy. Ecstasy does the same thing. And so it's like a double W pleasure kind of thing there.
Okay.
He probably took more. He probably took more than one Viagra too, and that's part of the.
Oh my God! He probably took a handful.
Oh, I'm sure.
And ecstasy, yeah.
And
ecstasy also. Was he sure he even had it his wife and not the socket in the wall? I mean,
well,
really?
His wife went to sleep. His wife went to sleep, and a coon ran in. Now, who the hell killed Davy Crockett in here?
It was Woody Allison.
It was Woody Allison.
That's
Gave him
right.
the
Woody
Heimlich
Allison.
maneuver. He gave him the Heimlich maneuver.
Woody Allison.
Yes, it is called a priapism. That is correct. My former coworker.
Yeah.
I tell you, we have taken calls. I remember taking a call in the 911. Well, I didn't take the call. When you're in dispatch, you're just like this. Got your headphones on, mic down. You got everything, and you got the like 4 screens. And my partner, he was behind me, and we always listened for each other. If they got a hot call, that way we could pick up. And I heard my partner say, "Your penis is where?" I was like, okay, so I got to check this one out. I have no idea.
Who wants to play
What's
Find
going
My
on?
Penis?
So apparently he was in a parking lot of a popular West Knoxville mall with it in the cigarette lighter plug. So thank God the USB weren't around back then.
Okay, gentlemen.
I mean,
You're
do you have
born
a story?
with those things. You're supposed to keep them. You're not supposed to stick them in foreign objects. You're not supposed to be cutting them off and just saying, "Come sew it back on." Leave them alone.
Hey, they fixed the Bionic Man. Surely, if there's any technology, they'll figure. And he's in Germany, so he's got. Or was he? No, he's in Italy. He's screwed. If he was in Germany, they can fix anything over there. So the cars last forever. So
It's definitely screwed.
Maybe they ought to send the 24-hour screwing guy over to Germany and get him all fixed up. Oh, wait, didn't you say he was from there?
he's from Germany, but he's in an Italy ICU, so in guarded conditions.
So they better send him back to Germany because I don't think Italy's going to do anything for him. You know what? You know what they say about Italy, don't you? Italy, Literally. They might cut it off.
Oh, I wasn't sure what that was a reference to, but okay.
Oh,
I was
Yeah. I was like, sorry, right over my head.
very confused.
Bobby stays confused. Shelton is watching you, Bobby.
I can hear it. Hey.
So I have a bizarre one. Okay, now
Uh-oh.
here is a sick, demented, bizarre news feed I seen today. So there is a 30-year-old woman, and believe it or not, she lives here in the United States. And apparently she lost her 14-year-old son. So what she did was she had sperm taken from her son for her to get pregnant so she could have a twin of her son. Now,
That's not how that works.
I'm not sure how that works. I don't think it works like that, but apparently she was convinced it would.
She's going to have some kind of deep.
I would kind of like to talk to the doctor that actually did this to say, dude, did you not tell her that it doesn't work that way? I mean, wouldn't that strike up there in the same interest as like incest?
I don't even know where to go with that one.
I left you speechless. But anyway,
that
was the strange and bizarre that I read today.
Strange and bizarre. Okay.
Strange and bizarre. I mean, I would have never even thought of that. Adopting, go to a sperm bank, and you might get like Phil Collins' baby or something, but
I would think if you turkey basted with your sons, it would cause like this crazy inbreeding kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
Best case scenario. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I want to follow up on that in a few months because that's just a little weird to me. But
does she live in East or West Tennessee?
See, I didn't even start with the Alabama joke.
It was the backwoods of Arkansas. Come on.
That's how they got the howler up there. Arkansas howler.
The howler. I read this. We're always looking for Bigfoot. Well, I found an article in Prince William County, Virginia. They found Bigfoot, but then he got missing again. They stole Bigfoot, a 400-pound statue out of a person's front yard. And the family said that if they could just get, they said they were all crazy. We were all crazy kids at one point in time and did silly things. I won't do anything if you'll just return the Bigfoot. So. Well, if it just kind of shows up, yeah, I found if anyone's kid shows up with a giant Bigfoot, please kindly return him home. We won't ask any questions or press charges. Simply bring the piece back.
Oh
We
my
were all
God.
stupid teenagers. Yeah.
Hey, look, when I was
how do you lose a 400-pound Bigfoot in your front yard? I mean, because it probably was kids. So
okay, so was it a Bigfoot or was it a statue?
It was a statue of Bigfoot.
Okay, well, let me tell you how that happens. When I was in high school.
Before you finish your story, I just want you to know, and I didn't set this up, but they did break one of the legs off. So go ahead. I didn't set that up.
When I was in high school, where I lived in California, there was a little drive-through dairy place, and they had this big cow in the front, a black and white cow. So all of us kids decided one day we were going to get together and steal this cow. So we took it, and we didn't know where to hide it. So a friend of ours had a swimming pool.
It's hard to hide a cow.
So we put it down in the swimming pool in the deep end and left it there. The mother came out the next day to go swimming and didn't notice it and jumped in the pool and screamed, "What the hell is that?" Needless to say, when they got the cow back, they chained it down because they didn't want the cow to end up being stolen again. People steal things, man.
What if she would have jumped in the pool and like stabbed herself on a horn?
Oh,
and they murdered her, and they all went to prison. Golly, that's worst case scenario.
Well, they had a lot of property. We could have taken care of that.
Oh, you stole it. Never mind. You could have went to prison.
JG said he found Bigfoot.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he found Bigfoot.
He found Bigfoot.
Yeah, I can imagine jumping in the pool and all of a sudden you're face to face with a cow.
Whoa. And we were all in the garage fixing the car. We didn't even know she was going in the pool. But boy, we heard her.
Oh, I bet you did.
It was like, oh my God, your mom found the cow.
Damn it. Why did you have to steal the cow?
Hey, she wasn't supposed to be off of work that day, okay?
Yeah, we
were going to take it out of the pool. We were just trying to figure out how to get it out of there.
We all do silly things in our youth, but I never stole a cow. My high school in Tennessee, they did, it's Halls High School. It's Halls Crossroads is the community. They bought a big banner with the letter B, and in the middle of the night, they climbed on the roof and covered the halls, and his sign says, "Welcome to Balls." I mean, I think that's great for a class prank. Welcome to Balls. I'm like, oh, good job, class of 23. Good job. There is still youth.
Well, they don't get as adventurous as we did when we were younger. So, I mean, if I can get a phone call from a friend saying, "Quick, you need to come over. There's a donkey in my mom's living room." And I'm asking them, "Did y'all do acid before I got there?" And then I get there and bigger than shit, there was a donkey in this kid's mother's living room. And I'm like, "You better get that thing out of here before it shits on the floor." Then I'm like, "How did you even get it in here?" "We don't know. It followed us around the back, came in through the sliding glass door." I'm like, "Oh my God."
What was that? The movie where they stole Mike Tyson's lion? Or
Hangover?
Not his Hangover. Oh my God, that's such a funny movie.
It was at the Tiger.
Yeah. I just
He was playing Phil Collins.
That was a great movie. So
Some people say it was terrible. To me, the funniest movie ever made is Dumb and Dumber. That's what I rate everything by. But Hangover, I think Hangover's up there with that kind of. That's you talk about the whole time you're just sucking wind.
Yeah, I prefer the slapstick humor. That's what I like. So
I'm thinking they were all smoking weed when they wrote that movie.
Yeah,
which one?
Dumb and
Hangover?
Hangover, and the other one. I know what it's called, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber's I think it's the funniest movie ever made.
It's good. It's good. What was the one? Joe Dirt. That was another one there.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. I mean, it's funny, but it's just, you know, you got to be in the mood for that kind of humor. So
Yeah. Well, you know,
well,
usually like the middle of the night's a good time because, you know, you're already tired and you're slap happy laughing. So
You ever seen Half Baked? I think that's one of those that are up there with that.
I don't know that I've seen that one.
There's just a few movies I consider like my top 10: Half Baked and Dumb and Dumber and Big Lebowski.
Oh, the Big Lebowski, yeah.
And the Bandit.
Big Lebowski, what?
Big Lebowski, man.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Dude, that's my favorite movie. That and Full Metal Jacket. That and Full Metal Jacket.
Now that's kind of from one extreme to the other.
In high school, we go up to Tennessee and buy fireworks and come back to my place because we had a bunch of land and we would shoot the fireworks at each other. Then go inside and watch Full Metal Jacket and Big Lebowski. I'm talking about every weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. At the fire station, we had a list of movies we would watch, and then if we got like calls right in the middle of them where we got so busy you couldn't, you know, watch a movie, that movie was gone. We never get to watch it again. Who was it that just said that? JT that said that he thinks his life is the same as Joe Dirt.
They write
I'm
that
his
for you,
sister.
JT.
Well, he found his
Why does
brother.
my screen keep trying to go dark? It's trying to turn me off. What'd you do to me, Glenn?
I don't know. I still can't tap. So everybody in the chat, I could read your comments, but I can't type. I don't know. It's like a leprechaun got in here and changed everything when I went to sleep.
That was me. All right, everybody. I might as well get this out in the open now. So last night, me, Glenn, and Susie were on here. We were testing things out. Glenn got tired to go to bed, told us to stay on, told me to play with it because he put me in the team thing. So I did. And I don't know what I did. I pushed like 2 buttons and I screwed the whole thing up. I deleted his background. I had no way to know even where we were. So in 20 minutes, he had to throw everything back together
again. And I have no idea what's what. So I don't know. I can see all the comments, but I can't reply to them. And,
I don't know what I did. I did something. I touched it. I am the biggest computer foul dummy you've ever met in your life. And it takes me 2 months to figure out how to use my new cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, all the well, that's still there, but I don't know why the colors are. Well, and that's well, there's our email address if anybody wants it.
Yeah, that's the email address. It's right on your face.
But well, I don't care at this point. No, I don't know why the colors are changed too. It's weird. I mean, the colors are all changed, everything. But I did find a backdrop rather than just having a janky ass screen behind it. So it
janky ass,
kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So, I mean,
did you go to Styles?
Yeah, don't push any buttons, Brenda. You're not allowed to anymore.
Okay, I'm not pushing the buttons. I'm not touching anything.
He's on double secret probation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm surprised that our little friend in the box hasn't popped on. He had the link, so I figured he'd jump on there. So
what a little friend in the box. We have a friend in the box.
JT. Or I'm sorry, Shelton. So
Shelton was in the box.
Well, cut a hole in the box.
Shelton.
I wonder if they drill holes in it to let him breathe. So
how does he breathe?
Like a firefly? Just poke holes in the
God.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lightning bug.
Yep.
Well, that Ray Stevens song, I stuffed him down in an old shoebox and punched a couple holes on top.
That survived.
Sunday came, we snuck him into church.
Oh, that's funny.
Deacon says, "Lady, keep your hands where we can see them."
Yeah, exactly.
Did you really fall out of your this morning? Fall out of your chair?
That was fun.
I was like, "What the hell?" You said, "I'm on the floor. It's cold down here."
I'm falling and I can't get up. I'm just gonna take my nap right here.
She's like, "Please help me."
I would be okay with one leg getting up. No big deal.
Spin like a
But
top.
my left knee, unfortunately, I had knee surgery done on it, and it cannot go straight from bending to standing up.
Mhm.
So I can't get up if I fall down. It really sucks. I just sit there and try to get up, and I go around in circles. That's the way I imagine myself going swimming now. I haven't tried it with one leg, but I imagine if I try to go swimming, I'm just going to swim around in circles and not be able to get myself out of it, create a whirlpool, suck myself down, and drown. So no. No, not happening.
I'll go. I want to go on the cruise with you. I want to see that. I'll push you over.
You'll push me in.
I'll help you up to the deep end of the ocean. So.
You'll be running around the deck looking for Woody Allison. Come and save Brenda. She can't breathe.
I need somebody to do the Heine-Lick maneuver. So.
Did you just say the Heine maneuver?
Yeah, the
I can
Heine-Lick.
do the Donnie Allison. That's about it.
Well, we do have a Shelton sighting. He is on his way to Bobby's to get in his suitcase. So
He left his suitcase there? Ooh.
oh, that would be bad, Bobby. You open up the suitcase and out pops Shelton.
What in the
Bobby's
world?
looking underneath his desk.
He's like, I thought I heard a better little feet.
Every time I see that, I think of Kramer's red apartment on Seinfeld. When they switched and they thought his little dummy was running around. Mr. Marcus?
Yes.
I love
That's all I can
that
think
show.
about.
It was a show about nothing, and they used to make me laugh. I don't know about anybody else. I
Well,
liked
that
it.
was.
Oh, it's one of my favorite. I got the whole show on DVD.
Oh, I should have, but no, I love that show. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I have references to almost every aspect of my life to one of those shows, so it's like I told my mom the other day, I was like, Mom, you're a close talker. And she's like, what? I'm like, never mind. Back up.
Tell your mom, get out of my bubble. You're in my bubble.
You're a close talker. No, I don't
You're
want
a bubble boy. You're gonna pop the bubble boy.
Bubble boy.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was a classic
Bubble Boy.
episode, the Bubble Boy. Yeah.
You pop the bubble boy.
And then he got the job with the Yankees. Oh my God, that was so great.
George.
T-Bone was my coworker, and he's doing
T-Bone.
a George Costanza reference there. T-Bone.
Okay, T-Bone in the house.
Coco's really giving it to T-Bone. He's a Tennessee fan too, by the way. You two should hook up.
All right, he's got to be a good man then. So I won't hold you being his friend against him.
He has a 1998 tattoo right here across his arm.
Okay, that's too much of a fan.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I've seen stranger tattoos. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working in fire EMS. I've seen plenty of stranger things, but yeah, it's a little too much for me. I'm sure I've told this story. The Tennessee game I worked, where the fan fell out of the stands and he hit himself in the head and was knocked out. And by the time I get there, dude is jumped in, dressed up in checkerboard overalls, checkerboard button-up shirt. He's got orange afro hair. His face is painted white and orange. His teeth, one has a front tooth, and one has a U, and the other one has a T. And so he's laying on the ground, and so I reach down to touch him, and this clown jumps up, and he grabs me by the collar, and he screams in my face, "I'm okay, man. I'm okay." And he just takes off running, and I'm like, all right.
You're like, I'm not. I just crap myself. Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, this is the very first and last Tennessee game I work. So
I'm okay.
Oh my God.
I'm okay, man. I'm okay. And he just took off running. I was like, well, they're like, are you gonna go after him? No, I'm not.
He's okay, man. He's okay. He says he's okay.
Good to go. I popped him with some Norcan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was like,
Narcan, woke his ass up.
That must be something. How long have they been using that?
Narcan?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I've been paramedics since 86. And we were given it then. So it's been a long while. And I'm sorry if it was cousin Bubba that had the concussion there, but yeah,
he got smarter after that.
Knocked some sense into him, literally.
Yeah, turned into a Vandy fan overnight.
There you go.
Oh, that is cold. Why would you do that to a Tennessee fan? So.
We want to see what a winning season felt like.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I can't.
I'm not bitter.
College.
I'm not bitter.
I can't tell at all.
You're not bitter.
Well, imagine me. I moved here into Georgia, and well, I'm in dog heaven here. So,
when does your vacation start, Bobby?
Right now. I mean, I'm on it.
Right now. Oh, you're on vacation.
At 4 p.m. Central Time, I was on vacation.
And you've graced yourself with our presence. I mean,
I'm still at home. We haven't left yet. Yeah, I haven't left home yet. I'm just chilling out.
He's locked the wife and the kids
get there and get his
in
suitcase.
The
He's going to be locked out to get his suitcase. He doesn't hurry up.
Poor Sheldon.
Everybody going, the whole family?
Yeah, we got like 4 generations going.
Holy.
Yeah, my grandma's going and my 3 kids and my mom and aunt.
Did y'all get some motorhomes or something?
My half of them's flying.
Oh.
Just me and my wife and kids are driving.
Oh, okay.
Road trip.
Nice.
Are there any Buc-ee's in Tennessee besides Gatlinburg?
There's one in Georgia and there's one in Sevierville. Coming your way, there's one. There's one, but no, there is one between Nashville and Knoxville that just opened. So yeah, and then there's always the 407 exit if you, I guess, there for like Smoky Mountain, Gatlinburg. So yeah, have you not been to one?
Yeah, I mean, but I can always go to another Buc-ee's.
I like Buc-ee's. We got Buc-ee's here.
I
thought I was wearing a Buc-ee's hat before I put this one on.
I stopped for the first time, and I think I was in there over an hour. It was like an hour and a half, and
it's amazing.
And I came out with like 4 lunches, 3 dinners, and and like,
oh my God,
and like 10 bags of chips. So
they just built the one here that's all 565 in Athens, right next to Huntsville. That's the one. Yeah. I've been there like a dozen times. It's not that far.
I loved it in there, man. I went in there and got lost for like 3 hours.
Kevin Stallings just went to Buc-ee's for his first time Sunday.
Oh, really?
Kevin S. Sorry, didn't mean to say your last name.
Was it fun?
Yeah, he said he's never been in there. He was roaming around. He said he opened the door and ladies started piling out. And old people started piling out like bison. He said just a herd of buffalo when them doors open.
Yeah. I took my friend Ken flew in from DC, and so when we were going down south, we hit the one down in South Georgia, and I was like, "Oh, dude, we got to stop." I said, "But I'm going to warn you, we're probably going to be about an hour." And he's like, "Why? It's just a gas station." I'm like, "No. It's an adventure." And I lost him for a short period of time, and when I found him, he was checking out, and he had a grocery cart full. Now we were going on a week-long, jaunt down to the Keys, back up around through Tampa, and then back up into Atlanta. And he had a grocery cart full of potato chips, nacho chips, onion rings, pork skins. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, we won't need to stop again. He goes, I've never seen so many flavors. I didn't know what to do. You gotta be kidding me. He bought like 3 T-shirts. And
I've got 4 unopened bags of Buc-ee pork rinds, like every one of a different flavor.
Yeah, we had every one of them. Yeah. Oh, and the beef jerky, turkey jerky. I don't know what it was.
But all of them.
Yeah, it was jerky. And well, hey, ironically enough, so that's I got my Buc-ee's Hank out tonight. So yeah. If anyone wants to sponsor me, you can contact me.
I would love to have Buc-ee's
from Buc-ee's.
Oh my God, that would be a great sponsor, wouldn't it? Just feed me in chips. Feed me in chips and beef jerky.
Texas cheesesteak.
Buc-ee pork rinds.
Oh, and that's what is it? The pulled is it the pulled pork? The sandwich they're known for. Oh my god, yeah, it's pulled pork, right?
Yes,
Oh my
barbecue
God.
pulled pork.
They got
Oh
the
my-
brisket's a famous one.
Is it the
Yeah.
brisket? Okay,
See,
yeah.
I like
oh my
brisket.
God.
Hey, brisket on the board.
It was
Brisket
so
is good
good.
stuff.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets.
It's kind of like a malt ball, if I remember correctly. So
It's the old corn pop cereal with glaze on. That's all it is.
is that what? Okay,
Remember,
all right.
gotta have my pops. Tastes
Okay,
just like that with glaze on it.
okay. I had not had that cereal candy like Rice Krispies, like you're talking about, until a few years ago. So I didn't know anything about that. So I was kind of thrown off with that one. I'd never heard of that before. And then somebody made it, we were camping with, and I was like, what is this? Where has this been all my life? So, what's the name of the cereal?
About like Rice Krispie bars.
I was talking about corn pops on the yellow box.
Yeah, no, it's
I like corn pops.
it's one of the cereals. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look it up. And you make it like it's a candy in the South, and
Rice
it's got
Krispie
like
treat?
no, I've had Rice Krispie treats. My mom was a pastry chef and confectioner. There's not many sweets I hadn't had, but this was one that threw me off. That
Is it called white trash? My mom makes something called white trash. It's got cereal and pretzels and M&Ms, and you put it in white glaze, and it just looks like a pile of trash.
Yeah, no, that's good too, but that's too sweet for me. But yeah, I've had that. No, I'm gonna have to look it up because
Brenda, is that a person in your house besides you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
What? I don't like that at all.
Just kidding. Yes, there is.
It's just somebody carrying out boxes behind you.
He's like, there's ghosts wandering around behind you, Brenda. Yes,
There's
there's
a lot going on
there.
over there. Don't trust it.
That was
the
funny.
Amazon man.
We almost made Bobby run.
I just had to check on. I had the
Amazon
UFO
man.
guy was messing with my stuff last night.
What? Oh, did he mess up your board?
I think he messed my little dock. It's nothing but a USB extender.
Okay.
But it's the way I connect everything, and it's starting to get bad. But when he was coming on, it would mess up. I had to scrub the whole thing.
That's crazy. Well, it's funny how that stuff happens when you're doing these shows.
Yeah, this thing's old. The dock is old. It's Amazon. It's got the name of it I can't pronounce. So it's made in some God knows where Wuhan lab. I ordered a new one today. I found just the cheapest and the highest rated. Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Ken dropped Ken. I don't know where that came from.
I was like,
Glenn.
who's Ken?
Glenn dropped sour cream in his keyboard.
Yeah, it's time to
Took him like 10 minutes to blow that shit out of there.
Glenn, do you ever plan on doing a like an on-site podcast in studio? Maybe a road kit?
Well, I kind of pseudo have one. Why? You got something in mind?
No, that's one of the things I was going to do with the dock I got that had a cord on it. As I've got like 2 or 3 places I could go and do like a podcast from like a haunted house.
Yeah.
One of which is coming up for sure. And I'm like, I wonder if I should do that or just have it virtual. Well, it's right back in my hometown too.
I wouldn't do the haunted house. I would do out in the woods Bigfooting. But yeah, it's something I've cornflake candy. That's what it is. It's something I've thought of. Yeah, and I've kind of already started pseudo building it. So
well, I bought one to sell on eBay as a package deal, and nobody bought it, so I have one, and I just haven't put it together. I was going to sell it.
Yeah, no, I got an old laptop and some other stuff, and the Yeti mic, the first one I bought, it actually it works, but the I don't know, the thing that makes it louder inside of it doesn't work in it, and so Yeti is like, just put an X on the bottom of the serial numbers, and we're sending you a new one. So it's kind of good customer service.
Yeah, they're making a ton of money. They ain't got that much money in things.
Oh, probably not.
Why do you not want to do a haunted house, Glenn?
I grew up in one. I was born and raised in one. I have no ambition to see.
What happened is, like, I know the guy who runs the thing. That's the reason he was going to be a guest while I was doing it.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's in my hometown. How hard to be there.
There you go. Well, Deacon drugged me through downtown Knoxville on a ghost tour, and we were both touched and had things on recordings and stuff. So, and that was actually with a celebrity ghost guy. He's been on Discovery Channel and stuff, and he writes the magazine. I can't think of the name of the magazine, but the big cryptic magazine, paranormal magazine. He's the writer of that. And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like haunted stuff.
It'll be me one day. You'll know me back then.
I prefer graveyards, though.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I didn't think I'd ever want to be in doing investigations while doing this, but talking to people, I'm like, well, what am I doing? That's what I should be. Just one, at least to get touched or something.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. So, yeah, one night
like
in the house,
not in my house though.
Yeah, well, yeah, one night in our house, something got pissed off and raked every pot, pan, utensil, or whatever off of the stove and countertop, like the little mini countertop beside the stove, and pushed my stepfather down. I was like, yeah, no, not a fan. not a fan. So
Deacon's got pictures of ghosts in graveyard.
Yep, I was with her when she got it. Yeah. We were the only ones to actually, well, I won't say the only ones, but we had more activity. And it was because we were open and knew kind of what to do. So, plus Deacon would like scream every time something went boo. So, but no, that's the last true experience I had was when we went back to that house. Guys, it's probably been 15 years ago on vacation in DC, and I was driving through the old neighborhood. And we found the house that I grew up in, and I was so young I didn't really remember it. And so I called Mom. I'm like, Mom, this house is for sale, and I think this is it. And I gave her the address, and she's like, that's it, yeah. But we go up to the window of the house, and I get this just feeling of just stay away. There's just something just like pushing me away, heavy air. I can feel it. Everyone can look inside the windows. The house is up for sale, so it was all open up, and everything. Everyone can see inside the windows. It's pitch black in front of me. I could not see through the windows. And I'm like, come here, look. They painted the windows. And they're like, no, windows aren't painted. I was like, yeah. So and I'm not a fan. I just don't do those things. And something was telling me, get away. It did not want me there. And I knew that. And I was like, yeah, all right. Hint taken 40 years later. So.
Wow.
It said absolutely
They really just weren't into you.
No. Well, the first thing, yeah, I couldn't. Every now and then I would see the ceiling fan, like looking through the top of the window. That was about it. But otherwise, it was like somebody had sprayed black spray paint on the window pane.
Like a really, really fat shadow man.
Exactly. Afro Marshmallow Man. So
it's like a ghost Lizzo went up to the room.
But no, I'm not a fan. One of my first memories was being sick in that house and growing up. And I must have had a fever or something. I don't really remember, but I remember I was sick and my bedroom door open, and over to the right was my room door. And I rolled over and looked, and the door opened, and there was like light behind it. And at that time, I didn't know what it was, but today's modern interpretation of the painting of Jesus was standing at the door with his hand outstretched at me, telling me to come with me. And I was like, no. And so that's one of my very early memories. I'll probably have to talk about in counseling now. But
wait, so you saw a painting of Jesus as a child?
I didn't know who it was, but it was everybody has the painting of the traditional Jesus, with the purple robe on and the crown. I guess it's a crown, whatever it is. And so, yeah, it's the typical modern interpretation of what the painting is. That's who I saw open the door and hold his hand out and tell me to come with him. But I just rolled over and went back to sleep. So
were you asleep or yeah?
Yeah, I was asleep, and I might have been 5, 6. Yeah, that's one of my first memories. So yeah, it's not that I'm scared of them. I just don't want anything to do with them. I've been around them my entire life, good ones and bad ones. I want nothing to do with them. So.
Wow, chicken.
Hey, I'm not chicken. I'm not chicken, but yeah, no.
Yeah. So I seen a show where they had speaking of which, here you go, right up your alley, Bobby. They stayed in this bed and breakfast. I don't even remember what the show was, but every room had a doll in it. And the doll sat on the couch. And they would tell people that, the doll would move and do stuff. So these people sat up all night long staring at this doll. This doll never moved. And they thought, oh, this is a crock of crap. So they laid down, go to sleep. The man heard something and he got up just as the doll's head was turning by itself. When they got up and packed their shit so fast they were out of that, running down the stairs with their bags. We're leaving. We're done. We're out. Yeah. Why do you go to something like that? To see what kind of a response you can get, and then when you get a response, you run. You leave.
Was it a movie or a show?
No, it was an actual I want to say it was a documentary of this bed and breakfast. And yeah, okay. I mean, it obviously says like there's a hotel in Nevada out in the middle of freaking nowhere, and it's got nothing but clowns everywhere. Yeah. And that place has got a lot of activity.
That lady that Zoe Zatar was on that actual episode.
Oh, was she?
About the clown place.
Yeah, that place was something else.
Whew, but it's everywhere.
People will sit there and stay there just, to see if they get activity.
What is it about dolls? Or what is it? But what is it about dolls or clowns, or what is it about those things that attract them? Besides most people find a lot of those things creepy, but what is it about those that causes that? I'll ask you since you seem to know.
Well, I think because it wasn't anything in the clowns that was haunted. The place was haunted, but clowns, because people are afraid of them. A lot of people are afraid of clowns. I don't know why, but they are. But clowns are kind of creepy. And then, you take, whoa, what the heck just did? Then you take.
Do not push a button or I will block you.
I didn't push a button. Something just flew in front of my screen.
Bobby will be promoted instantly. He'll be the new co-host.
But so clowns are kind of creepy anyways. And I think that when that whole thing with the John Wayne Gacy came out, that made it even worse.
I think that's what solidified it.
Yeah, I can see that, but I have a clown story, but I don't know if it's safe.
Clowns
for
are
you
scary anyway.
So, well, I had the Tennessee clown. That was a scary story, and one of the first. And when you become a paramedic with a new service, you always are with another paramedic. They precept you, they train you, they release you. Once you know the rules and everything, you can go forth and save. And I ran a call at La Vista Road and 285 at a hotel room, and the cops there's like a line of them. It's one of the hotels where the balcony is on the outside, and all the cops are standing there and they're all like laughing. They're like, oh, you don't need to go in there. But then I'm like, yeah, I kind of got to, I'm the paramedic. And they're like, yeah, okay. I go in there and this dude is in full head to toe clown dress, talking the wig, the makeup, everything, pants down around his knees. He has a plastic bag over his head with a zip tie and a tube that went to a helium. I don't know why helium. I really didn't bother to research this. But let's just say Sparky came and went at the same time. So
came and went.
Yeah, he came and went at the same time. So yeah, exactly. I should have known. That was like my first call as a paramedic released in the county. I should have known. So I was like, I should leave.
You guys used to go back to Tennessee. You guys used to play like dangerous games on each other, though. What was it you said? Somebody told you one time, you guys better stop. Somebody's going to die.
Well, that's just part of being a boy.
Part of being a boy?
Yeah. Well, but I never dressed up like a clown and put a zip tie around my neck.
Yeah, that's a little. Now, what would have happened if it would have tightened and he couldn't get it off? Then what?
No, he was dead. he was dead. The clown was dead.
He didn't make it.
Oh,
That's why they were laughing.
I thought it was a joke. Oh my God.
No, it was a real story. He came
was a
and
dead
went at the
dude.
same.
He was
Oh
a
my
dead guy.
God. I thought you were telling a joke that they were pulling on you.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
It's a real thing.
Best joke ever.
Oh, God.
Clint said, "Oh no, he was dead.
No, he was actually dead. Oh,
He was.
No,
okay.
he was a dead clown. He was the best clown.
It's kind of like a snake, you know.
How
It's a good snake.
embarrassing. There's no honor in dying in a clown suit.
That's this episode's title. There's no honor in dying in a clown suit.
Yeah, right.
God, remind me. I will title that on the podcast.
That's the kind of shit that'd be like a merch item on any other radio show.
Exactly.
There's no honor in dying in a clown suit.
Now, I
T-shirts.
just wanted to know exactly what the coroner thought when the body got there.
I don't know.
Probably the same thing I thought. There is no honor dying in a clown suit.
Like I said, he came and went at the same time. I guess I don't know. I wasn't. I was just there to go. Yep, he's gone. Straight out the door.
Take off those big shoes and go. Ha! He lies. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, that would probably even be worse because they had to call the county coroner. I guess it's a coroner. Yeah, to do the investigation, the medical investigator. Can you imagine being a crew that had to carry a dead clown with a priapism down 3 flights of steps?
And his pants down around his knees.
Well, he already lost his honor, so
I want to know
Honor
who
and
called.
death in a clown suit.
Who called this in?
Well, I think housekeeping. So,
Oh, so whoever he was running around playing clownsy with left him there dead.
I wish I could hear the little Hispanic lady open the door. Oh, Dios mío, sos a diablo. Ay, Dios mío.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh, about to get real.
Stuff's getting
Uh-oh.
real. There's a man appearing and half appearing. So,
Uh-oh.
He just
Who
took a
would it
deep
be?
breath.
Oh,
It
it's
seems kind of
that shadow
He's a shadow
Bobby.
figure. Somebody get some sage out.
Yeah, exactly.
I just heard something that's fallen and it can't get up.
It's probably Shelton whooping his tail.
Shelton doesn't have the balls to do that.
Shelton be
No.
whooping up on JT. That's funny.
Oh.
Poor Sheldon.
Poor fella. So.
Yeah, Deacon, he did do it himself. That's how Robin Williams. That's how Robin Williams and Kung Fu died.
They weren't dressed in clown suits. They had
No,
a
but
little bit of honor.
They were doing everything
I
else.
did it my way. Too soon? Oh, never mind.
No. If you're autoerotic in a clown suit, there's never too soon. You sign that.
Right?
You sign that agreement.
And I know why he used the helium, because he probably sat in there and screamed to himself at a high pitch because it sounded funny. He was trying to get a good laugh out of himself before he died. I mean, shit.
Oh, that's scary. I actually just had a really strange dream the other night that I tried helium. So I don't know why that just popped up. I have, but it's been many years. But I think I was doing something with one of the kids' toys or something. There was still some helium in a balloon. I dreamed that I was like trying to make the voice. So.
Hi,
Oh my
kids.
God. What's the other one that the dentist give you? You breathe it in. What's it?
Nitrous.
Oh Lord! Now see, now if
Nitrous
you
oxide.
use that, then that I could have understood.
That stuff feels amazing.
I don't think you can go to Home Depot and get that. Maybe Tractor and Farm and Supply. I don't know, but I don't think you can go to.
What if you can get
it?
nitrous oxide at the like a race car store? They must sell it there.
That's true. It's a little cans though, but yeah.
Yeah, well, just enough. Hit a whip it.
I'm not even sure that you can buy helium anymore like that.
You
I
get it
thought
in a
they put a
balloon.
stop to that.
No, they put it in little party ball looking compressors. So you take them home, look like a can of propane, but it's got. You can buy them. It looks like a box of helium.
Oh Lord!
I got three girls. I've
You've researched all these
several
things.
birthday parties. Yeah. How you doing?
This scares me. All
We
right,
might
well,
have to order some of those, Glenn, so that we can do a show on.
do a show like that? No, I think I'll pass.
You're supposed to just fill balloons with it. You fill your rooms full of balloons.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's the fun in that?
I don't know.
They just float around and get
Got a
stuck
bunch
in
of
the ceiling
kids.
fan, and
You got cats.
All right,
That'll be
well-
fun. Cats gotta hate balloons.
Oh,
Cats gotta hate balloons.
So, all right, well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I promised you a guest tonight, and his name is Tony Mantor. He's a singer, songwriter, pianist, and producer. He's been performing as an artist and touring for, well, I'm not going to give it away. He could tell us all about that. He has hits in America and over in the UK. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony Mantor, welcome to our show, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Doing well. So I see you found us and you got clicked in and logged in.
I did. Everything went good.
Good.
And when you're dealing with the internet, you just never know what to expect.
No, you don't. So I don't know what part of the country you're in, but yeah, it's been acting wonky for me for the past couple days. So,
Well, I'm down here in Nashville, so.
Good part of the world there.
Oh, yeah.
So, you were
We're all
familiar
pretty
with
close.
cookies. Yeah. This is Bobby. He's one of my assistant co-hosts, and Brenda, and of course, you know me. And
Yes.
then I got another guest backstage. We'll bring in here in a few. I think he said he's going to get ready. But so tell us a little bit about yourself. I could read about you all day, but it sounds better from you.
Well, I don't know about that, but that's okay. Well, I've been here in Nashville for 30 years. I do production development. I've worked with some fairly well-known people, and I've worked with people that are up and coming. I've worked with like Jackie Wilson's son Bobby, Glenn Campbell's daughter Debbie. If anybody remember Happy Days, Donnie Most, Ralph Mouth, I'm producing and releasing him. Back in the late 90s, Mila Mason had some big hits. I produced and managed her for a while. So I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, a couple minutes there. I see a picture behind you there, Glenn Campbell. And unfortunately, my dad was a country and western DJ, and that was who I was named after, was Glenn Campbell.
Well, I tell you,
Oh
if you'd gotten the talent that he had, I tell you, you wouldn't be having any financial problems because he was just great.
Yes, he was.
I forgot
I'm not
about
a
Mila Mason.
And I'm not a fan of modern country so much. I like more of the classic country. So yeah,
Sure.
Absolutely. So I don't think a lot of these performers today, I have a hard time. They get up there and they just sing. They don't do anything else. They don't play any instruments. They don't do anything. And a lot of times they use the voice box, or not the voice box, but the
pitch corrector.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a different world now. I mean, back in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, those country stars, the major labels actually got in there. They developed them. They developed their fan base. And when you got someone that like jumped onto Johnny Cash, let's say, I love Johnny Cash, they were a fan for Johnny Cash for life. In today's market, you've got people that are fans of singers, but 6 months later, a year later, they might have a new singer out there. And then all of a sudden they push one aside and now they're taking on the new one. So it's a completely different world as far as listenership. But I think that's mainly because in the late 90s, if you remember, they had like Achy Breaky Heart and a lot of songs like that. And they were kind of pushing the music towards the teenagers. And they're trying to make country cool when it wasn't cool, and now they've made it cool. But the thing that they forgot is that these teenagers have a short memory. They might like somebody today, but then 6 months later, a new person comes along. They push that one aside and they jump on that bandwagon. So it's a kind of a rotating circle of people.
Ooh, not me. I've had two, and I've had them for a long time. One of them I've actually met, and the other one I used to tell my ex-husband, that man could park his boots underneath my bed anytime. And that was Toby Keith and Trey Sackins.
Okay, yeah, both good guys.
Yeah.
So I forgot about Mila Mason. I'm looking. Yeah, that was around my time period too.
Oh yeah, she had a bunch of big hits.
Yeah, I remember her now. I'm like, holy shit, I remember her. Where's she been? That's my favorite area of music, 94, 95 country.
Yeah, well, she's a great songwriter, you know. So she when Atlantic Records moved out of Nashville, she kept songwriting and writing with other stars and did some things, and so she's very talented.
I forgot all about her. Oh man, her and Mindy McCready.
Yeah.
Came up about the same time. Dina Carter.
Yeah. You know, unfortunately, Mindy had a bunch of problems that didn't work out well, but she was a great talent.
That was rough. I hated to hear about that. She was a good one.
She was. I actually got to know her, and I actually recorded in the same studio that she worked in, and you know, so we would bump into each other and talk about different things, and she was the first singer that RCA put I think like $600,000 into the demo. You know, they spent a bunch of money on her.
Really?
And it paid off. I mean, because she had talent, and Bobby Whiteside was a good friend of mine. He co-wrote her only #1 song, "Guys Do It All the Time." You know, so she had a lot of good hits.
Remember that one, the Cletus T. Judd version? Wives do it all the time.
Oh yeah, see, I can't forget him.
Oh, I love Cletus T. I'll take him right alongside anyone else.
Well, you know, it's again, it just goes to a different era of music and of time. You know, you can get away with stuff like that back then, but today's world, it's hard to get away with some of the things that they say or have said.
There's some Ray Stevens songs you couldn't play today.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Surfing USSR.
Yeah.
Me again, Margaret. Stop you. That's the Me Too movement right there.
That's right.
Me again, Margaret. Are you naked?
Yeah. Get back here.
With a weed eater and a live chicken.
Oh yeah, great times.
You were talking about how the fan base was built so much different back then, because they would tour, they would stop at the little mom and pop AM FM radio stations a lot of times, and some of those AM FM radio stations actually had record studios in them for like the real rural areas. I mean, the blues is more known for that, but
right.
My dad was a disc jockey, like I said, and he was country and western and got famous, I guess. I don't know. This is all way before me, obviously, but Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner came through. I want to say it was in Virginia Beach for some reason, and one of Dolly Parton's backup singers fell out or couldn't perform or something. Right. And so my mom had been singing local like contest fairs and stuff like that, country and western stuff, and my dad's like, well, she can sing your song, and stuck her up there and with Dolly Parton on stage.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can't do that today, that's for sure. So,
no, it's a different world. You know, it's kind of sad because just some of the things that you just brought up of these singers going from AM FM radio stations and just seeing a tower and pulling off and say, hey, let's pull in and see if that station's, you know, live or whatever. You can't do that today because they're all bought up and programmed, and it's kind of a sad thing because back then a lot of these local radio stations, these artists could go in, meet the DJ that was on the air then, walk out, drive down the road, and while they're driving down, they're hearing the DJ play their song they just left them. And that don't happen today.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I still have several from my dad's collection of 45s that were gifted to him by different performers, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a time that I mean, I remember there's a little station in about 30 miles from where I lived. And they had, I can't remember, it wasn't a very big station as far as wattage, but they had such a listenership because it was a college town. And you could go in there and they would play just about anything. They was just so laid back. And they're still there today operating the same way. They haven't been bought out. So it's just nice. When you go over there, it's like going back in time.
That's nice.
That's neat. Yeah.
It
So
really
what have
is.
So what have you been up to lately, Tony? Doing anything new or?
Well, I'm working on a project right now of my own that's supporting autism awareness, acceptance, and understanding around the world. I'm getting ready to start a podcast next month, and I'm going to be talking with different people from the autistic community that either are autistic or work with the autistic or their parents or grandparents or siblings of it, and just kind of help that out a little bit, because there's a little misconception about autism out there, and I think that if we can do something that can kind of shed a little bit more light on it, might help a few people.
Absolutely. I have a friend whose son is autistic, so yeah, I completely understand that.
Well, I mean, if they'd want to be on the podcast, I mean, my podcast is, I actually started listening to other podcasts that was dealing with autism, and there's a lot of great ones out there. But they get into the scientific part of it. They get into a lot of things that's above my pay grade of understanding. But the one thing that I didn't see or hear was people telling their stories. Because just in the last 3 weeks of starting to record my podcast, because I'm going to record them and then put them up, as a little bit later on. And just the people I've been talking with has told me their stories. It's pretty fantastic, really, how they get around, and how they talk with each other, and like one person told me, they said, a person told me that, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that your son's autistic. And she goes, it's not a death sentence.
Right.
And that's what people have, that misconception. They feel that if it's autistic, they've got and that's kind of media, I think, a little bit. I'm not going to blame media, but if you look at things on TV or hear it on the radio, these interviews, sometimes they tend to skew towards the dramatic, which is the worst part of it. And rather than showing the great part of it, because I talked with a lady that she's probably in her mid 40s, and she's an artistic poet, and she is just so great,
Right.
And then I talked with a lady that's raising a 14-year-old son, and she was telling me the stuff that she has to go through, and how he's now 14, and he's actually, when he started out, he was nonverbal, but now he's learned and he's blending in, and so it's not the end of the world. We have to let people know that.
That's right.
Have you ever heard of a Temple Grandin?
Who's that?
I'm sorry, I stepped all over. Brenda.
Okay.
Her name is a Temple Grandin. She was autistic, but like a super genius, the way she saw things.
Uh-huh.
And she like reinvented the cattle movement process from the ground up. Revolutionized.
Oh, wow.
She gives TED Talks. Yeah, she was severely autistic, but that's the most interesting case.
Yeah, I mean, there's several out there that do public speaking. They're doctors. They're they do everything that anybody else does. It's just that they've got autism to a certain degree. I mean, you've got those. I mean, I've met autistic people that definitely need help on a daily basis. But then I've met people that are. They're working hard. They're making that transition into the workforce. And then I've met people that are fully functional. So we've got all kinds of people out there that are all different levels. But stop and think about it. We've got what we call regular people. I mean, we got all different levels out there, and and I know some people that are friends of mine. I don't even know how they're making it. It's like, so I mean, it's like it's too bad that they get kind of pigeonholed into a certain thought process.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
A couple seasons ago on a television show on CBS, Big Brother, one of the contestants didn't want anyone in the cast to know. She'd revealed it backstage and in her interviews that she was autistic, and I think she was a black belt in karate or one of the forms. She was a track and field star. I think she'd even done some professional or semi-professional amateur boxing, and she'd done all these sports. And on the show, never would have guessed it. And she almost won the show. And at the end of the show, when everybody comes out and they tell like their little secrets and stuff,
Right.
she told that was, you know, her story. And she was always so proud to have been there and represented and done this and that. Everybody was blown away because they were like, well, that's not what we thought. Well, yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
so I think it's great. And well, just like you said, there's, you know, those of us that aren't smart like me. And then, well, you know, there's Bobby. So it's yin and yang.
help
So.
Bless my heart.
Well, you know, I did an interview here yesterday, and he said, well, just by talking to all these people and everything, you're going to be an expert. I'm going, no, I'm so far from an expert that my feeling is if I can just bring these people on my podcast, let them talk. You know, just ask a few questions, have a conversation like we're having, let them speak, let them tell their stories, you know, that if I can create an audience, you know, that where other people are listening, you know, then hopefully someone from another, you know, part of the world will hear somebody on the other side of the world talking about the things they go through, and they might say, wow, I've kind of gone through those same things. And then by that happening, we'll create a little bit larger community of and give people a chance to feel like they're not alone.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the premise, or my original premise of this show is, of course, the paranormal obviously was part of it, but I wanted to venture away. I feel like everybody has a story to tell, no matter who you are, no matter
Yes.
what walk of life you're from, no matter what you do for a living, no matter anything about you, you have a story. And if you have a story that's interesting and needs to be told or can help someone else, by all means. You know,
Right.
as a paramedic running out in the streets for 35 years, I've heard so many stories, but I've also heard things that have influenced my life from people I would have never met. So this is kind of my way of sharing back to the community in that aspect, that I feel like, you know, I've got a voice and a talent for BS. And so let's hear your story. You know, I like to talk. I like to hear others tell what's going on in their life. And, you know, I think earlier we were talking about Woody Allen. They're going to make fun of me. I'll screw it up before it's over. Doing the Heimlich maneuver. If more people do CPR and the Heimlich maneuver, there'd be more lives saved. It's the same type principle. I think we all have a story.
What was his name?
I'm done with you, Bobby. I'm blocking you.
You can't say it.
I got it right once.
Well, but you're right, though. I mean, the more people have conversations about things, the more things people can learn. I mean, I started this project a little over a year ago, and when I heard the lady that called me, you know, because I had done a project earlier that paid tribute to our first responders, you know, and then she called up and she goes, you know, I really like what you did for the first responders. Is there any way that you can help us? And she's a speech therapist for autistic children. So I had to really think about this because I'm you know, being completely transparent, I absolutely knew nothing about autism. I mean, I knew that it was there because I've got friends of mine that have autistic children, but you know, you hear some of their stories, but you don't hear a whole lot. You don't hear the day-to-day stuff, you know, so I was aware of it. And then I found later on that April is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, you know, and I'm going, okay, that's nice. You know, I'm aware of it. I accept it because I'm aware of it, but there's one thing they're missing. They're missing the understanding. So I created my slogan is Autism Awareness, Acceptance, and Understanding, because I'm telling everybody, hey, you can be aware of something and you can accept it because you know that it's there. But until you know something about it, there's nothing you can do about it if you run into somebody that is.
Absolutely.
So the more you know, the more knowledge that we have, the more we can break those barriers down and make things a little bit easier for everybody.
Preach. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm well, I found you through looking through the public safety stuff was how I found you. So
yeah,
but I'm very much aware of the surroundings of people not educating themselves about things and things like that. Especially people get scared. People don't want to talk about it. People shy away, and there's no reason for that. I mean, there's no reason at all. People are people, you know. So.
That's right. I mean, it's just a situation of people are a little bit, when they come across somebody that's a little different from them, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be autism. It could be Parkinson's. It could be Alzheimer's. You can name off a litany of things, but the thing is if they don't know that much about it, then they kind of walk on eggshells because, I don't want to say anything that might insult them, or I don't want to do anything. And that's basically because they don't know it. So if we as a human race want to understand more things about other people and make this a little bit better, open your mind up a little bit and get a little knowledge of some things, because you don't have to be the PhD of everything. You just need to have enough knowledge so that you know how to take and handle it. Just like you brought up the Heimlich. I mean, it's something simple like that if a few people know it, then all of a sudden they're not afraid of it anymore. It's like, okay, I can help this person. Same thought.
Right. I only have one leg, and a lot of times when I go to the store, little kids will stare and their parents get angry at them. And I tell them, no, it's okay.
Right.
And I try to communicate that I'm human. It might look scary, but it's okay.
Right.
You don't have to be afraid. And so, yeah, I understand, any kind of thing that's different about anybody, no matter what it is, if you don't educate yourself on it, then don't open your mouth about it.
And the great thing that you just brought up is kids.
Yes.
It's like kids aren't afraid to say anything, and that's the beauty of it, because kids, they just say stuff. They just whatever's on the top of their mind, they say it, and there's no malice there. There's no. It's sometimes kids just want to know. They're inquisitive. They see somebody that's different. It's like, how come he's different than me? It's like I've got a friend of mine that was telling me that she has an autistic son. I think he's 8, and then she's got another son her autistic son's 12, and her other son was 8. And then she had to explain to the 8-year-old why her 12-year-old son was different than he is. But he wanted to know, because he was inquisitive and he wasn't being, there was no malice there. So if we as adults, okay, we're supposed to be the ones with brains, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so if we as adults could put down some of those fences and those walls and be more inquisitive like kids are, with no malice, just wanting to know and gather more knowledge so that we can communicate more about the differences that we have, society might be a little better.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Here's something I want to ask about the autistic research and support area. Has there been any efforts or studies going toward pointing how a lot of the autistic guys, they're really good at one thing, like crazy good at it,
right?
Obsessed with it. I just wonder if there's been any studies to find that in that crowd and make them more accepted like that.
That's a good question. Because I know several different people that I've talked with, and like one of them, their son, you can ask him anything about sports going back to 50 years, and he's only like 30 years old, and he can tell you. You can say, what was great on September 15th, 1950 in the NFL, and boom, right off the top of his head, he'll tell you. And they are there. And then there's I was talking with a radio station over in the UK, and they've got an autistic guy that comes in that does all their graphics. And he goes, man, he does graphics better than anybody that we know. So there are people out there, that are super smart, super intelligent on things. They get fixated on something, and they can know it. There was a kid in St. Louis that works for a major grocery store over there, and music is his thing. So he loves Michael Jackson. So he'll go out there to get the grocery carts and do the moonwalk all the way back to the carts, and people will take pictures of him and send it to different people because it's part of their thing that they do. So I'm sure there must be some, but I can't tell you honestly about that because I've never gotten into that deep yet. But it's a good question for me to ask somebody.
Oh yeah, it just seems like in kind of like those Umbrella Academy when they were all figuring out their superpower.
Right.
Like something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that with in today's society, I mean, everybody does studies about everything. So I'm sure there's got to be a study about that. And that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it because now I don't know the answer to that. So now you can best believe it. I'll find out.
It's going to bug you to death.
It will. But that's a good thing. Well, the great thing about this whole thing is that I'm meeting people of varying levels of autism. I'm meeting people that have kids that have varied levels, and they're telling me so much information. And it's like I'm able to use it in other interviews that I do. It's like somebody will tell me something today, so let's say, and then a few days later I'm talking with someone else, and he or she will bring something up, and I'll say, oh, hey, how about this? And I'll bring up something that I talked about today, and then they'll expand on it themselves, because the one thing that I find that's very intriguing about this, and it's pretty much the same in everything. Like if you was to come to me and say, okay, I want you to produce a record for me, and I'm going to tell you the levels and the stages of what it takes to produce that record. Now you go to other producers in Nashville or New York or LA or whatever, and you say, hey, I want you to produce a record for me. How does it work? They're probably going to tell you about the same type of story that I told you. Then you've just got to figure out, okay, which one do I trust? Which one's got the best quality? Who am I going to use? Well, when it comes to stories of autism, it's the same thing. You'll hear stories from people that living the same life, but they've got so many similarities, but they're so different from each other because of the personalities. So I learned so much from these people, and I mean it's just overwhelming to me. Sometimes they'll tell me so much stuff, and I'm going to go, okay, there's no way that I can absorb all this, But if I can absorb just this much, so that I can gain this much next time, then it's just a little bit more knowledge that I can have and help me have the ability to carry on, somewhat intelligent conversation with people.
Yeah, and people who have autism all have different stories also because they have different. I want to say they all go to different abilities. Like some are really smart at math, and then you've got others that are talented in drawing, and then you've got, so they have all different steps of autism.
Yes.
So I think that it's really neat when they can, all get together and share that experience. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I had a guy today tell me that he thinks that everybody in the world is autistic. It's just that it's just different levels because everybody has their quirks. He goes, and maybe that's part of autism, but we just don't recognize that as autism because we're highly functional. And I couldn't dispute it.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
There's been many a day when I woke up and thought, man, there's just something wrong with me. So yeah, I agree. So, yeah.
I mean, it was just really great. And then he also told me about two people that he was working with. They both were autistic kids. I can't remember the age, and they got mad at each other, and they weren't talking. And then he was trying to explain to one of them, saying, well, he's a different personality. You got to accept that personality, And he goes, yeah, but he's autistic just like me. And he goes, no, he's not. He's autistic, but he's not just like you because he's got different personalities, just like you have a different personality. And he had to kind of explain that out, so it's just an explanation thing of getting people to know that even though someone may be autistic, they can still have differences of opinions and have differences because their personalities are different, so same as us,
Very true.
Right.
How did you say those kids were?
I think they were like in their teens.
Okay. That's a cool story. Yeah, I can see that he's just like me. Well, no, he's not. We're not poured in a mold. So
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this. I mean, I'm meeting so many different people from all over the world, and I'm learning so much, and I'm hearing all these stories, and that's why I decided that I needed to start my podcast, because I don't hear any of those type of stories on any other platform out there. And I just think that if other people can hear these stories and they can smile a little bit, or hear something that they're going through that someone else went through, then maybe we can create a platform that can be good for everybody.
Yes, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like sometimes somebody just needs a hug. Sometimes you just need to hear something,
Yeah,
So-
or a kick in the butt,
I get those more frequent than not.
Me too.
So I want to tell me about the Potsy from Happy Days. Tell me about him. He, you say you're recording with him now?
Ralph Mouth, yes.
Mouth. I'm sorry.
Donnie Most.
Donnie. Okay, I said Potsy, didn't I? Sorry.
Yeah.
He's kin to Davey, so but never.
He's a great guy. He's very humble, great singer. He's kind of like a Bobby Darin, Frank Sinatra, that swing style of music,
Wow.
and he's got such a rich voice. Matter of fact, I've got 3 songs up on iTunes that he did. One's "Ooh Baby Baby," the big hit back in the '60s, I think it was, with Smokey. And then I did a new version of "Smoke from a Distant Fire," and that was a big song for Sanford Townsend back in the '70s. Very up tempo. We turned it into a kind of big Frank Sinatra type ballad, and that went over well. And now we've just put out a Jump Blues. I love the way my baby sings the blues, the old Big Joe Turner song.
Okay.
And so all 3 of those are up on iTunes, so you can catch it. But he's just a great guy, great singer, great performer, humble. You couldn't ask for a better, for a celebrity, you couldn't ask for a better person to work with, because there's just no ego there. Just real good.
Okay, that's cool. This is probably going to sound like a stupid question, because I remember growing up watching him, but how old is he now? Roughly. Just roughly.
69, I think.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. He's still crooning.
Yeah, he is. He is. I mean, he's got a lot of energy, and he's got it happening. He does a really good job.
So you've worked with many talents. What was the most difficult talent you've had to work with? And you don't have to name a name. Just tell me they threw stuff at you or something.
I've got to say, I've been very fortunate in my whole, music career. I've had people that's been, every artist has their little idiosyncrasies that they deal with. They've got their egos that they have to keep in check at times. But I mean, that's pretty standard with everybody. And I tell everybody that I either work with or potentially work with, or people that I'm not working with that ask me questions like this is ego. You have to have a certain amount of ego to do anything. I mean, just like doing what you're doing, hosting your podcast, you've got to have a little bit of ego to say, I can do this, and that's just a belief in yourself. Where the problem becomes, and same thing with musicians, singers, hockey stars, NFL players, it's when the ego goes, I'm better than anybody else. When you get to that whether you got a chip on your shoulder, that's when you have the problems. Luckily, I haven't had any of those. I've had people that's had little chips, but nothing major. They've all been willing to work, and they all understood that there's a certain dynamic that we have to have, and there's certain production values we have to have. I've been very fortunate. The one thing that I will tell you that's very humbling that I've had happen is because when I was growing up, I loved R&B. And because I loved rock and roll, and I wasn't as much into country as what some of my friends were, but I at least appreciated the fact that, just because I don't like country doesn't mean they're not good at what they do, but so now fast forward to, like say even 15 years ago, I'm starting to get calls from people that I grew up listening to saying, hey, we got to do a project together. We got to do something together. And it's like, I'm going, whoa, I just talked with, and just like when Donnie Most called me, I mean, I watched him on TV, it's like, man, I'm talking to Ralph Malph. It's kind of humbling that somebody like that's well known or would call you and say, hey, I really been watching what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Let's talk about doing a project.
That's true.
Pretty-
That's
yeah,
true.
That's neat. I like that.
I've been fortunate. I really have. I've worked with I've been involved with some of the biggest stars and that are out there. Not that I produced them or did anything with them. I might have been at functions that we had different shows that they were on a show. I had somebody I was working with on a show, but we all collectively worked together, got to meet and talk, and so I've met a lot of people. I've had people call me saying I've had some of the biggest Motown stars out there call me and say, hey, we got to do something, and I'm going, well, this is pretty cool. I grew up listening to them, and now they want to work with me. So yeah, I've been real fortunate.
Motown is one you don't hear from too often anymore, and that was big name back in the day. So
yeah.
It's Rusttown.
Yeah. Well, what happened was when Barry moved to L.A., that kind of took some of the oomph out of it, But I guess that's it didn't hurt him too bad, but yeah. I had Motown's first PR guy. I hired him, and he worked with me for a few years promoting when I was producing in Jackie's Son, and Al Abrams. He was Motown's PR director for like 1959 to 1965, I think, or 66. And the story about him, this is something that I don't think anybody knows. And this is a great thing about stories of anybody, but he was always telling Berry Gordy, man, and he was like 19 years old, man, I want to work for your company. I want to work for Motown. And Motown really wasn't all that big yet. Barry had just been doing some recordings. So Barry dug into his box of 45s, and he gave him the worst 45 that he thought he produced. And he told Al, he says, get this played on radio and I'll hire you. So Al he went out and tried to get it. Everybody said, no, it's no good. And then back then they had this DJ that played on Saturdays they had this booth set up in this, not a mall, but a big store, and so Al kept bugging him. And finally, with like 5 minutes left on the show, the DJ said, give me that damn song. I'm excited. And he put it on and he played it. And Barry and his friends were driving down the road, and they always listened to that song, that station. And all of a sudden he heard that song. And then that Monday, Al knocked on his door. He goes, when do I start? And he did. He said he hired him, for like $100 a week or something, and then he went on to help create, the Supremes and just, all the big stars of Motown for the next 5 years. So stories like that I've heard, being around people that's kind of cool too.
That's great. Yeah, there's a lot of history around Motown.
Oh, there is.
And in the Grand Ole Opry, you're there in Nashville, so I'm sure you've played there. Or
I've been backstage many times. I haven't been at the Grand Ole Opry in a few years because the pandemic shut things down. They changed everything, the way they did things. I really haven't had any reason to go, but yeah, I've been backstage many times, and just true joy to be there because. Again, you're at the Grand Ole Opry, so you get to be around some of the stars that helped form, and create country music, as it is not today, but as it became more prevalent back in the day, and then grew to what it has become.
Now, Tony, do you play any instruments?
I'm a piano player. I play piano and I sing. I was classically trained at 8 years old. I was just a typical 8-year-old kid running around, and we had an old beat up piano in the house, and I'd go over there and play on it out of tune. And my mother said, well, if you're going to learn how to play it, you might as well learn how to play it. So she got it tuned and put new ivories on it, got it all just looking like brand new. And then I went to a piano teacher, and I was classically trained for like 6-7 years.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then I wound up going to Berklee College of Music in Boston for a while, just to learn more on improv, and because I didn't want to become a teacher or anything, but I wanted to learn some things that they had. I wanted to learn, so I went there and learned what I wanted to learn, and then from there I joined a local band and just kept growing and building. Then I finally got up enough nerve to, and actually. I wound up going to Nashville because a couple of friends of mine didn't have transportation, and you'll get a kick out of this, like in country and all this, and because I was into more pop and R&B and all that kind of music, and they were country songwriters, and they said, we want to go to Nashville and pitch our songs. Can you take us? And I said, what do I want to go to a hick town like Nashville for? Because I was like 20 years old. I mean, I didn't know what Nashville was. I had this perception in mind that it was a hick town. So they talked me into it. I drove them down, and as I'm driving in 40, I see all the big, big buildings, and I'm going, man, Nashville's just concrete and steel like every other city. But the difference was, when you went to Nashville, you walked Music Row. And Music Row is, for anybody that may be listening that don't remember what Music Row is or has never been to Nashville to see it, Music Row is a series of streets that you can walk, and you walk from old house to old house, and in every old house there was somebody different in the music business. You might walk into one, there was an independent record label. You might walk into the next one, they were a producer or a publisher, or whatever, they did in the music business. So we walked like everybody else. We walked those streets, and we'd go into one, and then we go into the next one, and there's a series of turn downs. And then you got to also be aware there's a series of crooks there too. They'll tell you anything that you want to hear, just so they get you to do business with them and make your money, get your money. And then there's a bunch of good people that really care about everything. So I got a chance to do all that, and it worked out really good. And then how I wound up working my way into doing recording in Nashville was, we were doing they found a publisher that wanted to publish a few of their songs, so they wanted to record them. So the next day we went into the studio, and because back then you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have anybody. If anybody would show up, nobody they couldn't call him on the phone and get a hold of him. He was a no-show, so the piano player didn't show up. So I wound up playing piano, with some of the best damn musicians in Nashville. Here's this country hit kid, from a little town, Madison, Maine, 5,000 people, born and raised on a dairy farm, and with some of the best musicians in the world. And then the president of this little company, a record label, came in to go over some things, and he didn't know me, and he introduced himself, and then he says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm just helping my friends out. And he's like, are you performing, playing with anybody? I said, no, I'm going to head back to Maine and probably start my own thing up and get it going. And he goes, well, how'd you like to go out with Ronnie McDowell? And I'm going, okay, Ronnie who? Because I'm up on country, So he goes, Ronnie's doing a tour, and he needs a piano player and a background singer. He goes, it looks like you can do both. So he sent me over to Capitol Records. Slim Williamson was his manager at the time, and I walked in and sat down and did the tour with him. And then Slim and I became really good friends, and he helped me out. And this is where I learned that music was a business, because Slim said, I'll help you. He's a matter of fact, he goes, I'm going to give you a name right now. Call him. So the guy was up in New York City, and it turns out he was Blondie's manager. So he goes, yeah, he goes, okay, Slim's a pretty good guy. He goes, send me some of your stuff. Let me hear what you've done. So I sent him a tape of what I'd done. And he called me up. He goes, man, pretty good. He goes, you're probably the third or fourth best singer I've had all year long. And I'm going, all right. I mean, it's like, I'm gonna get a deal here. I'm gonna get a manager that can help. And I said, so when we start working together, he goes, you wasn't the best. You was just a third or fourth. That SOB, I mean, it's like, way to kick me in the teeth, but that taught me a lot. It's like, okay, if that's the way they're going to be, I just got to keep working until I am the best. Yeah. And it kept me working, and I wound up, I had a couple of options of getting on a major label, but the numbers weren't right, the contracts weren't right, and then I wound up working with Bob Millsap and Gary Paxton. And if you remember Alley Oop and songs like that, Gary Paxton was the lead singer of the Argyles. So I got great guys that kind of mentored me. And then when they were getting older and decided to, that they was going to retire, they called me up and said, man, get off the road, stop, playing till midnight and having to travel, and all this. Come down here and do what we do. Get into production development and just go for it that way. And I did a lot of soul searching, but I decided that was the best thing for me at the time. So I made the move, and here I am.
That's a pretty big career.
Yeah. And he Ricky Bobbied you there for a little bit. If you ain't first, you're last. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he did. But I mean, it's stories like that I look back on, and it's like, okay, that helped shape me. I was pissed, I mean, I won't lie. I thought that he had just kicked me down, and, but I learned from it, and when you learn from something, you keep growing, then, hopefully, it makes you better. And, the old saying, if it doesn't kill you, and that's kind of where I was.
Yeah.
What's bad is he probably makes that same joke to everybody that came in there.
Yeah, it very well could be.
It's just this old man joke. Like, shut up.
It's probably just push you in the right direction.
You never know. I mean, in the music business, there's just so many stories of different things happening, and you just like I was. This is one thing I'll always remember. I was going to Nashville, and I didn't know the area. And now I know where I was now, but when I was going down back and forth, I didn't. And this was in the day when you had no cell phones. We had a CB in our car, right? Mm-hmm. So I ran out of gas, right on Briley Parkway, and I'm going, oh, this is great. So I got on the CB. Where's the nearest gas station? And it was like 2:00 in the morning. And this guy comes on, he goes, where you at? I said, I have no clue. I'm just out of gas. And he goes, well, give me some of your surroundings. So I kind of told him, some of the things. He goes, I know right where you are. I'll be down in about 10 or 15 minutes. A half an hour later, the guy shows up, and his wife is driving, and he gets out, and he's, 3 sheets to the wind. I mean, he's drunk out of his mind. But he stumbles around and brings me 5 gallons of gas, and so I go, and she says he pulled me out of work. He told me that we got to get down here and help this kid. He's out of gas. And I said, well, how much do I owe you? And he goes, don't worry about it. He goes, it might be me next time. And that story right there kind of made me feel a lot better about the world.
That's a David Lee Murphy song there.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why it made me feel better about the world because I mean, you're talking, I'm like 20 years old. I've never been out of the state of Maine when I went to Boston for college. So traveling, down south and all this, I had no clue. And you hear all these stories, so it's like I'm going, oh man, I'm screwed, and this guy just kind of gave me faith in the world that there's good people, and from that point on, I've never looked back on helping people and people giving help, and just realized that a lot of good people in this world.
Yep. Have you ever gone to Graceland?
People can't believe this, but because I'm a huge Elvis fan, but I've been so busy doing stuff that I've never been able to make the trip over. And that's one thing that I've got to do, and I know that, because I'm only 3.5 hours away. And everybody goes, oh, but you're so close. But it's kind of like it's kind of like every state has its attractions, and I mean, I can think of big attractions in the state of Maine that people come to see from all over the country and all over the world that I haven't been to. And it's like, so some people don't even go out and see the attractions in their own state. So now here I am here, and I can say the same thing. Here I am in Tennessee. I haven't made the trip over yet.
Well, hey, don't feel bad. I live like an hour closer there than you do, and I've never been. I've lived here for 40 years.
Where are you now?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, just south of Nashville.
Okay. Yeah. I've traveled down through there many times.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been to Graceland once, but Nashville itself is a tourist attraction. So
it is.
Yeah, I'm up there all the time.
Because when they took Opryland and turned it into Opry Mills, that ticked off a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was like a big attraction there, and I miss it. And even today, I miss going down there because there was a lot of people that would go in there and go into the shows and play and perform, and it was a good spot.
I remember Waylon Jennings and stuff being there at Opryland when I was there.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's a lot of those guys played over there. I mean, it's like you just never know. Back then, you just never know who you're going to run into.
I remember going there as a kid. I loved that place.
Yeah, it's a great place. I tell everybody will say, yeah, but it's changed a lot, right? I say, yeah, it has. And that's the sad part. In the last 20 years, oh my God, has it changed?
Oh, you're talking about Nashville itself?
Yeah.
We go up there every 2 or 3 months for a concert or something, but it has changed since I was little.
Well, it's like at one time, I think I counted like 25 cranes on top of roofs. It was just, wow. The skyline was cranes instead of the Nashville skyline. And there's a couple of studios in Nashville that have had like Paul McCartney, recording there. They tore it down and put up a damn condo. It's like, so it's not the same Nashville, unfortunately. It's changed dramatically.
Glenn, I'm going to step out for a few minutes because we got to start the next show right after this. Tony, it was very nice meeting you.
Same here.
Great.
And you have a good night, and I will be right back.
All right.
Okay, Brenda. Yeah. The one thing about Tennessee, and I think it's kind of that way with a lot of the Knoxville's what I'm more familiar with is
Knoxville's good.
Yeah, I feel like it is still a big city, but yet still in a way it's still of a small city, isn't it?
Yeah, and Knoxville still got the ball from when they had the World's Fair over there.
Yes, the Sun's Fair. Yeah, the Sun's Fair. Yeah. So, but it's one thing I've always enjoyed about Tennessee. I'm not originally from there. Originally, my father was military, so it was Washington D.C., and then we moved down that way.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, it's one thing I've always enjoyed about Tennessee, and is the people there seem to be just different somehow. I don't know if it's in the water or what it is, but they seem to be much nicer there. So
they are. But it's like I've had people ask me, what's the difference between living in the north in Maine and living in Nashville in the south, and they'll say, how are the people? And I tell them, people are people. You've got rude people, you've got arrogant people, you've got mean people, and you've got nice people, and there's as many rude, arrogant, people down here in Middle Tennessee as there are any place in the world. It's just that when people come here, they're in there buying, they're paying, and it's like, y'all come back, and so that, if they don't have that pleasantry about them, then people aren't going to come back, so. But with that said, there's a lot of good people here in Middle Tennessee. I know a lot of, I've been here for a long time now. A lot of people I live about 15, 20 minutes north of Nashville. And it's like now people, know me and it's like I've lived here all my life. There's just a lot of really good people. But yet, you're going to every now and then run across those people. They'll tick you off and you'll say, okay, well, I hope I never see them again, But that's any place.
Well, are you a Titans fan by any chance, or are we diehard? New England fan.
Well, I pull for the Titans, because I like to see them. I like to see them do well, just like I pull for the Predators. I like to see them do well.
Yes.
But I'm still a Bruins, fan, and I'm still a Patriots fan. But I'm one of these. I'm a sports fan. Okay, so if my team doesn't make it, then I'm pulling for I'm pulling for another team. I'm, like right now, the Celtics and the Heat are playing, and the Celtics have just looked pathetic, except for last night, so
It's
if
a
the
miracle.
if the Celtics lose tomorrow night at home, which who knows, I'll put, I don't have any problem pulling for the Heat, because they're a good team. I think Denver's going to be the team this year because they've just really done it up right, but I'm a sports fan, as long as the team that make the two teams that make it to the championship, as long as they don't have any arrogant, real, people that you love to hate, so to speak, I can pull for it. And so, I mean, like when the Titans missed that by a foot, I mean, I was like, oh, come on, one more foot. I was hoping they could do it, and then when Vrabel came, I thought the culture was going to change again because Vrabel's the old Belichick hard-nosed, coach, and he's changed now because they've had some injuries the last couple of years, and now they're having to kind of reboot a little bit. But yeah, I'll pull for them, because they're good for Nashville, they're good for the area, and it's just fun to watch them play.
College football team?
Yeah, I kind of pull down here. I kind of pull for Tennessee. Although I do like Vandy, Vandy will never win, I mean, Vandy doesn't stand a chance, but
Anchor down, Vandy.
Yeah. I mean, back here, what was it, 10 years ago, when they were pretty good. And then the coach went bailed and went to Penn State, I mean, I hated to see that because he had them where they was competitive, and with any team, you just don't want to see them blown out if they can be competitive. And at least when they're going into a game, unless it's Alabama or some big Georgia or whatever, okay, they got a chance. And so I always kind of rooted for Vandy to have a chance. But last year, UT had a good run, and hopefully they can this year. So yeah, I kind of pull for the locals.
All right, good to hear. Well, before we wrap up, where can we find you? Tell us where we can find all the stuff about you and any of your up and coming stuff, and where you're going to be.
Well, my podcast right now, it's been up for a week, the introduction. It's on all the platforms except for Apple, which hopefully Apple will be on in a couple of weeks. So they can find me on all the major podcast platforms. They can find me on TonyMantor.com. YouTube is Tony Mantor. And then, of course, all the social media is just at Tony Mantor. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Okay.
Tony Mantor.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on. If you'd like to come back and talk about the other podcast, I would love it.
Sure.
I think it's a great cause, and I do appreciate. Thank you for everything you've done for public safety as well. So it's much appreciated.
Oh man, I tell you, you got to give back. It's I'm a firm believer that if life has been good to you, give back because people that have a little challenge in their life, no matter what it is, they could use a helping hand. So if you help out when you can.
Absolutely. Well, I would probably be bad if I didn't ask you to do this, and then my friend didn't even know I was going to do this. But as we take us out of here at the wrapping up of this, my friend Al and his band, the Johnnies, are the one that recorded my geeky little song. So just make sure to listen to it and see if you hear anything good. Let me know. I'll forward it to him.
Sure.
All right, guys. Well, he gives me the music for free, and he didn't even ask me. He didn't even know about it. It just hit me. I was like, well, heck, I'm using his song. This guy listens to more songs than I've probably ever heard of. So, I mean, short of my father being a DJ, I can't think of anything else that, that's got the tuned ear for it. So, but Tony, once again, thank you. I appreciate everything. And Bobby, hang tight. We'll have you two on here in the next show. And Ladies and gentlemen, next week we have another new and exciting guest. You never know what's going to come out of our mouths. And so just make sure to tune us in next week. And here in just a little bit, we're going to have some serial crime shows coming up. So here we go with The John.
We like to party every day of every year. Since I was 15 and still wet behind the ears. 'Cause ever since then I've been hooked on the taste of beer. Well, we think we're really cool 'cause we're sitting by the pool with girls all around. Whoa, look what we just found. It's really, really cold, it's less feeling taste, but we got beer. There was a girl from Spain, and Lolita was her name. Well, the zipper got stuck. Whoa, boys, we're in luck. Big Albert stuff, you share with a shot, we got beer. I'm glad for beer, I like a lot of beer. From the bottom to the top, I just can't stop with beer.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back with the next show.
1, 2, 1, 2.